Thursday's thoughts are happening Friday morning. You guys, time is made up. So just roll with that. I have my Neverland mug. Just think of a wonderful thought. It's wonderful. I wanted to talk about so many things, but also was like, do I need to make a video this week? But I have been challenged by Tam to make a video every week, and um, and I said I'll do it at least for a month. And it's interesting how end of the month, and I'm like, I don't think I need to do that though. Like I don't have to actually finish it. I don't have to actually um, because it feels uncomfortable, and it feels like, why am I doing this? Does it matter? There's so many people making videos, so they can watch one of those, or someone else can say something. Um, but it's just part of the practice, I think, too. So thanks for participating in my practice, um, and hanging out with me in the morning and sometimes at night, and you get it. Um, I saw a button uh, actually in my own bathroom. I'm not sure how it got there, but I'm guessing it was my roommate, that said self care is important for the revolution. And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. And it feels very much like, yeah. Um, this idea of like taking care of ourselves is selfish, and this idea of taking care of ourselves is um, not not beneficial to others. Uh, and I'm realizing more and more how untrue that is, and how that's another one of those sayings and another one of those things that like is an old idea. Um, because if you don't take care of yourself, if you are not getting enough sleep, if you are not um, filled up yourself, if you're not filling up your cup, then you're just depleting yourself. And the more depleted you get, the less you're able to actually help others, the less you're able to benefit others. And so, certainly, self care is very critical. And I think, taking it a step further too, that like making yourself a priority in your life as well, which I think feels very counterintuitive and feels very selfish. And, but truthfully, like we can't do anything for others unless we are taking care of our own needs, and that means more than basic needs. That means that like when I'm thriving, I have the capacity to help this person and this person and this person. But if I am depleted, if I am minus some, then I have the ability to possibly help this person, but also very possibly hurt others, because I'm coming from a depleted place. I'm getting frustrated easier. I'm reacting. I'm not in my most powerful place. So, this idea that it's selfish is an interesting concept, because I'm like, it's actually, it's not benefiting people if you are not thriving. It's not benefiting anyone else if you're not thriving. And my roommate and I have been talking about this a lot, because we wake up early to get our work done before we even go into work. We try to get ahead of it so that when we're at work, we can be present for others. We can, manage additional tasks, and then we're exhausted. So we're trying to be good leaders, and we're trying to, do what we can for others, and yet we ourselves are completely exhausted and depleted. And I am juggling a few different jobs right now. And I'm thinking like, oh, well, it has to happen this way, or I have to finish this, or this has to happen on this deadline. And this idea of like, it has to happen, it has to get done, is at a cost. Like there's a cost if I choose to do something now versus checking in with myself and being like, okay, what do I need in this moment? Also, then I get burned out, and then at some point I need to take days to be like, let's just pause and reevaluate everything. So self-care is incredibly important, and yesterday was a very hard day for me. And it's a celebratory day. It's the day Bob was born, the day my mother was born, because Bob and my mother have the same birthday. And so it's like this interesting day for me, and I know that about myself, and I know it's a day where I need to be very tender with myself. And so instead of sitting with that, I worked all day, and it felt because one of my bosses said to me, please don't take any more days off in August. And that felt like, okay, I won't. Yeah. And like that idea that I chose to listen to him versus listening to myself. Um, and, forgiving myself for making these choices, and it's all okay and it's all fine. And knowing that, like, I get to choose. Like, yes, I have a job, and yes, I have commitments to that job, but I'm a free human being, and I get to live my life. I get to make these choices for my life. And there are certainly consequences to the choices and all of those things, but there are ways to honor myself and to honor my commitments to my jobs. And I go above and beyond with my job. So that's not a real concern as far as like, well, what if this happens, or what if I lose my job, or what if, so it's like, it's just that feeling and that obligation. And like, how do I switch it so that I have an obligation to myself? I have an obligation to my health. I have an obligation to who I know I came here to be, like to be this big shining ball of love. And that's what should be a priority for me to protect. That's what should be a priority for me to nurture and to expand on that. Um, and that is part of the revolution. That is part of the change. Like, I can't actively have a nonviolent communication with somebody that I disagree with if I'm not present, if I'm not fully in my space. And so it's like, it's all part of um, getting yourself to a place of thriving, getting yourself to a place of really being centered, being grounded, being able to give, being able to come from that very full place in order to share from the overflow, in order to share from the saucer. The cup is yours, so filling your cup, and then the overflow is what we can then offer to others. But being very mindful of your cup and filling it or drinking from it. It's whatever. Um, so yeah, how do you fill your cup? How do you self-care? What does that look like to you? Because I feel like also when I first started having conversations about self-care, people were like, take care of yourself, love yourself. And I was like, but what does that look like? Like, tell me about the action steps for that. So what are your ways that you take care of yourself? I just finished my meditation, which involves meditating and then involves some coloring. And then I am having this delicious tea that is kind of like coffee, but it's a tea. So it's kinder on my belly. And I'm really working on sleeping more because I have not been making that a priority. So, what are ways you take care of yourself? You're so precious. I love you.